Alright, good day everyone and welcome back to X4 where we are slowly cleaning things up after the battle of Matrix 79B. It was a major effort, but I basically completed the initial stages of cleanup. We've salvaged a number of Xenon ships that are being claimed, small prizes of war that we will send back for repairs. I've collected as many surviving pilots as possible, rescuing them, transporting them back to friendly ships. They may be reassigned later, or they may enjoy a holiday, but I think we've saved as many lives as we can at this point. The bombardment group, the Ur King and the Asgards are being tasked out to destroy these stations one after the other. We'll just get the Max out there as well. And once the replacement Asgards built to the new spec are available, we'll be sending them out as well. I've been doing some thinking about fleet construction after the Battle of Matrix 79. And while our fleet composition was successful, I think from a role-playing perspective, caring about our pilots, the outcomes, the appearances, the way our fleet is regarded, I think one concept that I attempted to do is a bit of a non-starter in the end. Let's fly. How about you guys fly not through Xenon territory? That would probably be a better idea, guys, especially since you're highly damaged Xenon salvage vessels. So we're going to change up our concept. Previously what we were doing is we were producing Asgards and many other ships to player standards and fleet standards. And the fleet version was about 80% as good for about 40% of the price. I'm making those numbers up, but you get you pay a lot of credits, a lot of resources in this game for that last little bit of extra performance, which we weren't doing. That was not something we were in a process of doing. We're going to change that now. Everything we build is going to be to maximum specification, whether we're talking about fighters, capital ships, whatever. Because the goal is to minimize losses. So when these new Asgards are built, that one will be done in 8 minutes. And there's also one being done built around Mars. That's the carrier that's been refit, and here's an Asgard. So this Asgard will be renamed. What I'm going to do is, because all Asgards are named after individuals, I'm going to go back and find out the name of the captain of the Asgard that was lost, the Svarog that was lost in this battle, and that'll be the naming rights for this Asgard to come out of the Mars yards. But if we look at the upgrade repair menu for this one, it's Mark III shield generators, it's Mark III thrusters to make them more maneuverable. It's XL Mark IIs, which is the best XL version. Proper battery. All of the primary weapons are now Paramid Plasmas. These are going to be station bashes, and the reason I've gone with Paramid Plasma is just to keep the AI a little bit safer. Paramid Plasma has just that bit extra range over Argon Plasma, and since we're installing them on our own yards, there's no security concerns. Again, max level generators, and then we'll be mixing that up as we always do with the good old Flax for self-defense duty. Crew arrangements, we're sticking with this: 10 extra seats to rescue people, 330 service crew, 20 Marines for salvaging vessels and for in-vessel security. Plus some of those Marines have to double up on MP duty, I'm sure. But this is the new standard. We'll also be fitting them all, because we have lots of basic mods. Everyone's going to get one that we get a chance. Everyone's going to get a basic shield generator mod at the very least to increase survivability. Because if we had, we'd still have the Svarog. The reason we don't is because we went cheap, and we will never go cheap again. So eternal memory to the crew of the ship, but at the same time, we can and will do better. What I'm going to do is dock up both of these once they're done, so I can teleport over and apply those modifications, and go from there. What you'll see in terms of progress of the war, just because I know we haven't updated for a while, Second Contact 2 Flashpoint is under Terran control, but the Holy Order of the Paranid is very active in the area too. We haven't seen progress up into Second Contact 9 or Argon Prime yet, I don't think. But, you know, you wouldn't expect progress into Argon Prime this quick into a war. I mean, the Terrans have moved faster than we have, technically. We've gone 2 sectors, and I'm about to start the foothold in number 3, Matrix 79, which isn't a particularly strategically valuable sector. I'm not seeing any valuable resources or anything, but securing it will pave the way to Savage Spur 1, Savage Spur 2, which are very resource rich and potentially nice little spots for us to add on to our empire. Here's a quick view of a station bash in progress as the fleet destroys the last couple of modules on this station. They've just destroyed one, they're reorientating towards another. I love this little pairing of the Boron destroyers and the battleships, working well so far. Might want to do a little bit more experimentation with the anti-fighter armors. There goes another XL beam. That's a nice one there. Might want to do some experimentation with the different options on the Ray, specifically whether you get better results out of ion nets or ion flak. But that's a test for another time. Anyway, I've got the replacement Asgards all heading into dock now, so they're about to get their names, and then we'll jump around, slap some shield mods on them. I think that's the only mod that every Asgard really definitely needs, although we'll see if we have spare common mods. I might also slap one on the engine and hull. They seem worth it as a chassis, just to keep them as survivable as possible. The reason I think that is because the battleships are the ones that draw fire, and the battleships are also the ones that have perhaps one of the most dangerous jobs in the fleet, which is getting close to Xenon stations. And as we all know, that's a high-risk endeavour sometimes. While we wait for that to happen, though, I see no reason for us not to hand over these ships to the Curbs and keep the split storyline moving. Just because we're fighting the Xenon doesn't mean we need to stop moving our campaign ahead. We got a couple of storylines to close out before this playthrough can be considered complete. So we've got the Rattlesnake, which we have produced in our own yards, moving towards its position. And then we have this dragon, which is leading a group of 10 dragons. What we'll do is we'll order them to follow the Rattlesnake as well. This is, I don't think we've ever had a close look at a split Rattlesnake destroyer before.
Rattlesnake.
Basically, the Rattlesnake is all gank, no tank. It's a destroyer with 4 main batteries, which I think is the most of any destroyer, more even than the Sin. And it's fast. So really, it's a good player ship. It's very agile, a lot of firepower. What you lack, however, is survivability. It's classic split survivability, which means, you know, an absence of survivability. Awesome. So we have to teleport off this ship in order to hand it over. So let's just jump over to this Free Families Refined Good platform. Instead, what we will do is we will live stream this group of dragons maneuvering into position. All of these corvettes, which we had to purchase with our funds from Free Families Yards to hand over to insurgents from the Free Families. But it's okay. Interesting structure for an insurgency, but you know, it is what it is. Once these all get into position, it should trigger the opportunity to hand them over and advance the plot. I will literally just stand here and quite literally stare into the void while I wait for that to happen. There's Talati hanging out on a split station. How you doing, mate? 4 of 11. 6. The fact it's ticking up does mean we have the correct outfitting, at least. It wouldn't be ticking up if they weren't the correct model. 10 are in range. There we are.
You need to perform a transfer.
Transfer the fleet. And unlike the Terrans, they won't give me any money for it. But there we are. So all those split ships will now fly away. Are they literally now in... Great, okay. Now, I'm not sure if that's our dragon.
Excellent. Pilot a 10 curve announcement now.
Pilot acquire spacefly caviar. Oh, great. So I need to bring them a million credit illegal gift. They're the good guy. Okay, let's go get this and get this over with. Quick modification before we do. This is going to be one of the O'Neill sister ships, the ATCS Carter. And there'll be a third Asgard in that group, rounding it out. So it'll be the O'Neill, the Carter, and the Hammond in one group. And we'll go over the other group in a moment. But all we really need to do is check what we've got in terms of modifications in train. 65. Heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps. So the two options here are the capacity and the recharge rate. My general perception is... So, recharge rate, 3,000. So this takes 200 seconds, like 3 odd minutes to recharge its shields. So the question is always, do you want between 5 and 20% shield capacity, and do you want 5 and 20% shield recharge? My answer to that, just check I have some super high quality mods, but we'll save them for player ships. Because the difference is only slight. It's 5 to 20 versus 10 to 20, and then up to 1 more property. Look, for the moment, let's apply these basic ones because we have an infinite supply of them. So there we are, 15% shield capacity. I think for times where things go horribly wrong, capacity is going to save you more. We have a whole bunch of engine mods. So what I really like is rotation thrust. So things like twisters. Because having what seems to save Asgards a lot is their ability to put their gun on the target. And here, I just want this at all costs. Engine strafe thrust minus 28%. I'm okay with strafe being reduced. Strafe is not something that matters huge amounts with Asgards. What we want here is this yaw and pitch and roll. That's fine. We won't bother modifying the turret. However, the XL main battery, this thing, we have 15 basic level modifications. So I feel like just straight damage, like stabber or slasher ruins cooling. Ugh, that's dismantle. That's plus 43% damage but minus 30% cooling. It increases burst a lot and it increases sustained very little. I don't like that mod. I'll have to do some thinking. Let me just quickly look at the list and see what in terms of basic mods actually might lead to a net, because what I want is an increase in sustained weapon output. Burst doesn't matter because it bursts so quickly anyway. That's what we wanted. The answer is Piercer. So I've rolled a 16.5% after one reassemble. So there we are. That should increase the sustained weapon output to 18,000. So we've got shields, we've got rotation speed. The engine's got the twister, the shields are applied. We don't need a paint modification because, honestly, I don't mind our basic one. We can apply the good old Thunderstruck, Radiance, any of these, but I actually think our just basic Blackclad for the moment works for me. Chassis modifications. Here there's a lot more options. And I have 54 again, which means I think the Asgards can afford to use some of these. And I think I've thought about it again way too much, and I think drag reduction. Yes, I know drag in space. It's a way of describing the change to ship behavior. It's a slight increase in speed across the board, travel, base, etc. So 83 is still horribly slow, and even more increase to the all-important, as I'm concerned, your pitch and roll. The better the ship rotates, the more likely it is to point the gun in the correct direction, and an Asgard that points the gun in the correct direction is an Asgard that survives. The alternative is boosting the hull, but frankly, the shield is 3/4 of the survivability of this thing. We've boosted the shield. I would rather have it point the gun better and travel better, as opposed to have a little bit more hull tank, because the shield is the shield and the gun is what keeps this thing alive. So that's the ATCS card up. We can direct that to a staging ground up north. I'll go outfit the other Asgards, and then it's back to handing the split their dubiously sourced food. As this Xenon station gets smacked, and we'll have the O'Neill, the Max, and the Veles. They're smacking that Xenon station, then that solar power plant, then probably rotate north to probably, it'll be fly and wait, attack, 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 and then that'll be Matrix 79B cleared of Xenon stations, other than build storages, of course. Build storage is not so much important, and we will take ownership as soon as the administrative module finishes on our foothold station. At the moment it's pretty basic. 4 defense discs, because the fleet's doing most of the defense work, and once I clear all the Xenon out of these sectors, shouldn't need any defense discs. Ideally, they should just be for telling people this is our home, basically. It's a mixture of Terran turrets on 2 discs, and 2 discs are full packed with 16 large Paranid plasma turrets, just in case a K comes through, has any bright ideas. Almost all the resources have arrived now, so it should just be now construction. 1 dock pier, 4 defense discs, administrative center. At that point, we will hold 79B. I'll have to reconstruct a bunch of the fighters to refill the carriers, but I think the battleships alone should be able to handle most of the next section. We're just going to have to go... Problem is I don't have as much sensor coverage, so I might have to grab a fast fighter. The good old Speedfish is a good one for this. Let's get some advanced satellites down, because we will not... I don't like to fight in the shade. I like to know exactly what I am dealing with. And what we might do is I might commence evacuation operations off screen to start clearing the Yaki crew, any available Yaki crew off that pirate base. So I'll do that, and then fly back to here. It's an Irakanji. It's a good little, very, 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 very fast Boron ship. So the Xenon shouldn't catch it. If they do, we will replace it, but we should be okay. But yeah, we'll want to neutralize the Yaki base before we destroy all of the Xenon in Savage Spur 1 and 2. Lest that quest complete in a incorrect way, they start building more stations and we lose our ability to deal with the problem. I've redeployed the Earl King down to Hathiva's Faith, by the way. So while we are flying around trying to find this bloody Kark facility that started to destroy miners and impose quite a cost on our operations, the Earl King and some fighters with it will help at least control the worst of the Kark spawnings. But the problem will not be solved until we locate whatever the Kark base is in that sector. I've finally been able to pull some resources off fighting the Xenon in order to make this happen. Earl King, as we've seen in the past, is a very capable ship when it comes to dealing with Kark, and I'm actually getting good results. There was a Barbarossa that was on auto trade nearby that had some spare time, and it's performing relatively well against the Kark as well. So those Barbarossas, they're not just trade ships. The great thing is I found if you modify a ship, the last installed modification, or at least the menu stays expanded in the same way. So I can jump in and make the same modifications relatively quickly. So again, this is the Hammond, completing that trio of Asgards in that battle fleet. 3 Asgards should allow some pretty decent station bashing. I'll then need to construct the Rays in Heretic's End in order to give them their escorting Boron destroyers. So the station bashing groups will be 3 Asgards, 6 Rays. Now, the other thing we could do is we could replace the Rays with some Sins or something like that for even more station bashing main battery firepower. But the reason I like the Rays is they really stay at long range because they have a really long range main gun, very, very long range main gun, and also very long range secondary guns too. So they don't tend to get too close to stations. They have some anti-fighter utility, and that's what I really want them there for. I want them to protect and screen for the Asgards against fighters. So let's just check that we've got everything there. Ship drag reduced, main gun damage increased by a casual 19.89%. Love it. 14% shield capacity, 42% engine rotation in exchange for 30% strafe. And that's all she wrote. Let's send the Hammond to the front. Let's not do Getsu Funa. I'm just expanding the headquarters even more to speed up terraforming work. As you can see, more storage. And then all of this basically translates into this big sort of massive stuff is everything except for the actual modules to construct advanced electronics locally. Just a small amount, trickle of advanced electronics, so it doesn't all have to come in from Queternaut territory. At the moment, we're shipping our advanced electronics halfway across the network. It's working. We have the freight network to do it, but a little bit of local production can't hurt things. Continue to expand this big local production block on one side. A little bit of secondary production of smaller stuff on this side, and then we probably need a third SM fabrication bay at some point, but I like the way the station is coming along. What I'm considering doing is eventually massively expanding the workforce on the station, but that would mean lots more food, lots more medical supplies, and all that sort of stuff in order to increase the number of Terrans working on the station. And at the moment, our build queue is just our constraint. Like, I'm always building, always expanding. Okay, so we need some illegal delicacies for the split. Fortunately, I have a giant pile of Terran Secret Service, presumably approved, illegal goods stashed in my headquarters. We need Spacefly caviar. Do I have any stored? If not, we'll quickly make some. We'll quickly make some. We have 12 eggs in our inventory. So we'll remove a further 13 from inventory, leaving 17. So I hope this is the last one they bloody need, because I don't have enough to make another. Let's go to the Trader's Corner, because there should be a crafting bench there. There we go, crafting bench. Where's my Spacefly caviar? There it is. Craft item 1. Oof, that hurts. Alright, we have Spacefly caviar. Where do we need to deliver the damn thing to? All the way... oh, back to the curbs. Alright, so let's send the experimental shuttle over, shall we? because it's always important to travel in style. Route that over. Just quickly check that the Asgards are being smart in how they're bombarding. One of the destroyers got too close, but it is smartly withdrawing before it gets destroyed. That is okay. Luckily, decent shields and good speed means the Negling should get out of range in time. Yeah, looks like it's going to be free and clear. And unlike defense platforms, solar power stations shouldn't have anywhere near the same firepower, so it should be good. I might teleport over just to make sure these are all in good range, but they've been behaving so far. No one's done anything super dumb in terms of these ships getting too near the stations. We've tasked 2 Asgards out to the location to join the fun, and we're going to outfit the 3rd one now. We're almost finished our Asgard fleet. I think the title number I've sort of settled on is between 6 and 8 in service. And what I'm thinking is 2 station bashing groups of 3, one based around the Max, one based around the O'Neill, and then maybe 1 Asgard per carrier fleet for the original mission, rather than station bashing that original mission, which was on bombard, defend the carriers. I could alternatively give that to destroyers, but the Asgards just do the job well. The other candidate would be the Sin class destroyer again, but no need. I think we're quite happy with the battleships, and even though the Terran Navy suffered a little bit as
Heretics end.
From the temporary diversion of resources towards Asgard production. Let's go to the ship dealership. Our fleet has certainly benefited for it. So the Terran Navy can wait in line. Besides, I've been delivering them so many ships anyway. Alright, this is the Jared Stringer, named after the captain of the Svarog that was lost previously. So let's throw... oh, that's right, I collapsed all this, didn't I? So let's do the usual thing. Let's throw a drag mod. An XL stabber mod. Did I want stabber? I thought it was Slasher that can ruin my cooling. Dismantle. Install. Oh, Piercer. Sorry, I'm being an absolute idiot and wasting my materials for no pert. There we are, 8%. We can reassemble that. We have plenty of components. 16, much better. Okay, that's great. 16% damage boost. Throw an XL capacity mod on the shield. Anything above 10% I'll take. 18.4 is good. Let's take the spinner. No, that's not the spinner. The twister. Bingo. 42% increased rotation speed. And I think that is all she wrote. We've got everything on there. Won't mod the turrets because it just eats up the modifications too quickly. We've only got 9 installations left. And that's just enough to outfit the remaining Asgards that I want to produce. So there we are. That's the TCS Jared Stringer. And one got too close to the station. Alright, let's go hand over a bunch of endangered species eggs to the split. In we go to the Ravenous White. Straight down the moor.
Docking granted.
Hopefully they very kindly left us a spot. They have. Let's get this insurgency started, eh? We've given them ships. We've given them money. We've basically done it all for them.
Shuttle.
All we really want them to do is claim credit for the chaos that I hope that they will unleash. Let's go find some stairs and talk to these people. Here we are. G'day, mate. How you doing? How's the insurgency going? Quarter curbs. Here we are. Alright, they're all present. Alright.
Pilot, welcome and thanked for service.
No worries. Here, have some caviar. I brought caviar.
Split accept offering. Together, we achieve greatness. Time to declare our legitimacy and worth to all. Free families and Zyar tyranny will learn. Proud, Free Families Patriarch failed to expel Zyar tyranny. Invader of Free Families economy, enforcer of slave rights against split culture, confiscator of assets in unjust trials. Quarreling families.
One of their complaints is literally the slave rights.
Forces. brave patriarchs died in fires of defeat. Patriarchy ways failed us, split families still quarreling.
That's kind of what Split
see
do.
This before. Patriarch Gustaguld see this. Patriarchs alone always fail us. We are your curves decreed by Gustaguld. Curves destroyed occupiers' unjust tribunal. Curves mustered fleets of all free families, quarreling or not. Join a Curb rebellion. Fulfill will of Gus. Victory to Curbs!
Hopefully their camera feed doesn't feature the person in Terran uniform.
The Court of Curbs has just declared its independence.
Alright, has that affected the map? Or presumably it will in a moment. Okay, so we have 3 families. Xenon near Xioth space, although Xioth space is less of a concern to us now that we're taking a lot of pressure off their south, so Family Jin is now much more secure, and we have Terran presences in some of these upward facilities. Including a fleet that I literally gave them that's still on patrol here. This is a Tokyo Gather Fleet and Different System ship that we handed over with an Osaka and some kukris. So it's good to know that the fleet that we put up there is still going. It looks like some of these still need build offers, have build offers open. So maybe we ship some goods up, because I'm not sure if the Terrans will start building more stations if they're still waiting on supplies for these. So I might go supply these stations quickly. But there we are. Let's see what changes in the split, whether we start seeing wars and whatnot. I think we can quickly check Encyclopedia, Factions, Court of Curbs. There we are, Court of Curbs. Hostile, free family, Kark, scale plate. Wait. Oh, there is, there's stuff going on. Where's my experimental shuttle?
Greetings.
Man, it's all happening on the... I didn't notice it was all happening on the ship. There is literally a war going on, and I didn't notice.
Rattlesnake.
Oh, wow. Okay, so they've come through...
Today, Split in this terrorism.
That's the rattlesnake I handed over. So I presume the Ravenous White's over there.
Chimera.
These are the fighters from the Ravenous White.
Rattlesnake.
And I presume they're engaging Xioth forces. I just can't tell the difference between the two, because they're all color-coded blue to me. They're also helpfully coded yellow and orange on the map.
Rattlesnake.
Well, there goes the Rattlesnake. Like I said, all tank, no gank. Really vulnerable to fighters. This is going to become a fighter duel. But if it becomes a fighter duel, the Curbs are going to win.
Raptor.
Because that Raptor has enough firepower to splap all these fighters, plus it had more on board,
Chimera.
I'm willing to bet. And this just must make the Terran Secret Service, this is just amazing. This is just, I should just send this video, and it's just going to temporarily cure all depression at headquarters. Because here you have Split shooting at Split, and it's fine now. Because we've got the Xenon under control, and we're less dependent on the Split now. In fact, we even have Terran outposts in Split space now.
Rattlesnake.
So here's a Xioth Rattlesnake, which, as you can see, is continuing to take fire from
Dragon. Raider.
these things like these dragons and whatnot.
Rattlesnake.
I'm really a bit nervous about the survivability of Split destroyers in general, and in this sort of furball. Oh, look at that. That's a Rattlesnake
Raptor.
firing its beam and flak turrets. So this thing's got like 100 turrets on it, like I said. Not suitable for what we want our carriers to do, which is launch and support fighters, don't die, be good fleet support assets, etc. But if your goal is to have a carrier operating like this by itself, those 100 turrets are just absolutely brutal. In fact, it kind of looks like it's trying to keep its range from the opposing destroyer, when really, if I was running that Rattlesnake, not Rattlesnake, Raptor, I'd want to like run that Raptor straight into the opposing destroyer because you've got more guns.
Dragon. Raider.
That's a destroy Dragon Raider, that's fine. So I presume that what will happen now is the Curbs will send these ships out into Free Families territory.
Dragon. Raider.
So I think the destroyer I gave them is useless, but these dragons that I gave them, the 10 of them, these 10 corvettes, absolutely chewing stuff up. Flying by with neutron gatlings. Split guns are defined by Dakar. And I like how they're all convinced I'm great. No one's shooting at me. Zioth Patriarchy will hopefully not be too suspicious about all of this. Man, the Zioth just keep sending more in. But that Rattlesnake's about to go boom.
Rattlesnake.
22% hull. Yeah, it's not long for this world, I don't think. It's only going to last as long as it's not focus fired. So I might go talk to Dal after this, see if there's something more we can do. But I have a feeling we've already done the most important bit, right? We've got them shooting at each other.
Dragon repair drone.
I mean, really, we should just see if anyone abandons any ships around here. Because some free split ships would be nice. I mean, we could probably manufacture them ourselves. We have the money. But I'm not seeing many ejections.
Rattlesnake.
Oof. The combination of split ships having so much firepower and so little defense just means that, yeah, it just take a couple of passes from these dragons,
Asp. Raider.
and the destroyer really had no chance. Alright, I don't think this will go for particularly long. It could have been quicker if the Raptor came over and actually did something, but the fighters and the corvettes seem to be doing more than an adequate job. We might leave at this point, rather than, you know, suspiciously hang around, but it's been fun.
Entering.
I had nothing to do with any of it.
2.
And yeah, stuff has definitely changed sides. Like, absolutely. So we've now got instead of free family, some free family stuff still here, but the wharf is now under curb control, the trading station is a curbs, a lot of these factories are curb, equipment dock is now curb. Yeah, I think most of the free family infrastructure has now swapped sides. 3 of the sectors have swapped sides. 2 are still free families.
Entering system. Archives
Yeah,
revealing.
oof, Zioth just got kicked in the teeth. And that's great, as far as we're concerned. They're not actually as close as they look because they're under the station. That is okay. Bashing the solar power plant, and that'll be the final Xenon station in this sector. Love it. How's Foothold Matrix 79 go? Looks like 2 more defense discs, and then the admin module, and we should get a beautiful green color out of Matrix 79B. Heretic's End is now finally empty because all 3 Asgards are beautifully being sent over. Let's may as well join the station bash while they wait. Then we'll form up the new fleets. So we'll send the Hammond and the Carter over to join the Max, the Veles and the O'Neill. So yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll group the Hammond, the O'Neill, and the Carter together into one sort of big group, and then the Jared Stringer can join the Veles and the Max, and then it'll probably be a case of 2 more Asgards, and then I think at 8 the fleet is basically feature complete, because we'll have 2 combined carrier groups, each with battleship support, and then we'll have station bashing groups too. I did lose a couple of fighters, that's unfortunate. I'll go rescue those pilots. I have sector defense. They can go Oh, no space available on that ship. That's okay. So I will just go task some rescue now. Easy enough. What ship should I send to go do rescue? This will probably have some room on board, right? No. I do so much rescuing and I have such large crews by default. There we are. Rescue people. I'll get the Mjolnir to go over and rescue. All good. Fleets are holding the gate pretty well. Foothold Matrix 79 now has a manager, so the station has stopped complaining about life. As you can see, it's going to be a bit of a station breach scenario here because there are two defense platform and a solar platform right near the gate, but we don't have anywhere near the capital ship concentration from before, so we're in a much better position there. Finally, I believe I still haven't located... Right, there it is. Alright, we have located the bloody Kark installation in this sector. So what we will do, finish clearing out those fighters, and then dispatch the Earl King over in this direction. At which point it should be able to see the Kark station. What we'll do is we'll just we'll give it some help by deploying some advanced satellites out this way. Give us better sensor coverage. Destroy that, and then finally we'll be able to mine in this sector in peace, which would be a massive improvement on the status quo.
Their territory with their initial declaration, the Curbs are rallying support to fight the Zyarth patriarchy. While the Curbs themselves are giving speeches to win over split hearts and minds, the devoted followers are being asked to contribute financially. If we can add a significant contribution to their funds, they will be able to end patriarchy policing of free family sectors.
Why would I do that? I think this is the point where I'm like, nah, man, you guys got a fight on your hands, solve it yourself. Why would I donate money in order to... So what that sounds like is if I give a bunch of cash, I mean, I'll just quickly check the... Here we are. Da-da-da. Driving out the colonial peace will decrease the patriarchy presence in free family space, calm the hostilities, and establish the quarter... Calm the hostilities? Dal. You're a sociopath. No, you're vaguely psychopathic and sociopathic both with regards to just about everything else, including being sad when the Boron peacefully reunified and whatnot. And then you're like, hey, let's give money to the Curbs in order to slow the conflict between the slavers and the slavers, so they can presumably go back to paying more attention to fighting the Boron, Terrans, and Argon. The Quarter Curbs will maintain fleets with which to protect free family space against foreign intruders. With the decrease in military conflicts, the economy could eventually stagnate. Yeah. No. So right now, what's going to be happening is Fires of Defeat and Family Tucker will be a constant battle zone between Zyarth Patriarchy fleets trying to re-establish control of these sectors and Curb fleets trying to problematize that control. I mean... Oh, that's hilarious. So apparently the damage has included destroying the admin module in Tharka's Ravine 8. So sovereignty is now contested. Maybe that's because when the things swap sides. Maybe. Sovereignty in Tharka's Ravine 8 is now contested between the Terrans and the Curbs. I'm half tempted. Like, my diplomacy could probably endure going over there with the battleship at some point and just blowing up some admin modules. Like, it'd lose me a bunch of reputation points, but I have a bunch of reputation points. I could blow up a bunch of admin modules belonging to the Curbs and then bugger off and let them calm down, sacrifice, like, a bunch of reputation. But we could potentially flip Tharka's Ravine 8 over to the Terrans. Which would be kind of hilarious. It'd be a bit of a far-flung outpost of the Terran Protectorate. But, you know, given the rate of expansion... Oh, there's a shipyard that still needs to be destroyed down there, obviously. But I think all of Antigone's sectors are now held by us or the Protectorate, which is a good boost. Second Contact 1. Still some work for the Terrans to do, but they're getting on with it slowly, while we also get on with it slowly. There are now no more Xenon stations in Matrix 79B, which means as soon as this administrative center flips, this should go green, and we should be ready for our next stage of our operation into Savage Spur 1. What I will need... what I will need is a ship with a whole bunch of crew capacity, because they can't build ships themselves, because they're missing hull parts. But what I could do at Heretic's End, build ships, Shuyaku, I believe it's the Shuyaku Vanguard, it is. Let's just go just a medium, what's a high preset go for? I don't know. Terran all rounds, Terran all rounds, Terran shields, bunch of flak turrets, that makes sense. Let's go down to level 2s on the turrets, shouldn't need them. Should be able to afford this. Crew, nada, 0, because we're going to go recruit a bunch of Yaki crew. We want some cargo drones, and we want some repair drones. Like that. Laser Tower Mark 1s will take 100. Let's just go A-Yaki Rescue. Done. We'll build that. And that'll let us go in and grab 225 crew at a time off the Yaki station. And once we've got all the recruitable crew, we'll be in a position at that point to go destroy the Yaki station. I mean, we can probably start by destroying the solar power plant and the defense platform and moving the fleet and holding like the breach in Savage Spur 1 as we did before. But let's just wait for the station to finish. It's only going to be like 15 minutes or so. Station will finish, Matrix 79B will flip, and then the fleet can advance. But I'm kind of happy to just leave the split shooting at each other at this point. I mean, set to inactive and forget. Lovely. The Terran Protectorate's also continually saying it's mounting defense operations in Getsufune because the Xenon continue to send ships straight through to the teeth of Sentinel Station here, which tends to chew them up pretty well, which I'm perfectly fine with. But the Terrans, I believe, would redeploy some of these fleets if there was no longer a bordering Xenon fleet. So hopefully once we destroy Savage Spur, the Terrans will release a bunch of ships for other duties. I have gone to go complete their stations for them, or rather make a shit ton of credit selling materials to them so they can finish their stations. But the Terrans are slowly de facto colonizing large parts of split space. Like, as you can see, this is not an isolated phenomenon. Like, the same thing is happening over in Tharka's Ravine. So the Terrans are sort of taking over the split sectors of the map, which is probably a great thing. If the split eventually destroy themselves and the Terrans take over administration, I imagine that can only mean good things for the prisoner with job population, probably being adjusted in favor of the free workers population. But we will see. Either way, I think Terran Victor's already made a significant difference. We took the pressure off the split by starting to wipe out the Xenon, which was fine, which gave us the opening to do what we really wanted to do, which is point the split at each other. And as long as this, and here's the thing, even in the intermediate, as long as this conflict is happening, remember, the Xayarth are giving more and more concessions in terms of quality of life and conditions to the prisoner with job population in order to control rebellions while fighting the Curbs. So it's good for that population temporarily. The Curbs are encouraging liberation movements and uprisings and supporting that human population, not because they like them, they think rights for them is a horrible thing, but because it's a purely military strategy. So as long as the fight is happening, the pressure is taken off that human population. If the fighting ever stopped, things would be worse than ever. So by leaving this situation constantly running until we can go in and have a decisive impact ourselves potentially once we deal with the other problems on the map, we've probably put the human population on that side of the map in the best conditions possible. Plus, I will note, we do pretty constantly see Boron vessels here, like Boron patrols flying around space, increasingly hunting down split ships as well, which is a fantastic role reversal, so to speak. And just for a quick demonstration of what these new bombardment
Solar power
these bombardment Asgards look like, with the extra range provided by the plasmas. Let's go attack capital ships first, just to cause this to optimize slightly. Unfortunately, it won't come set up with our weapons group. That's okay. It takes all of a minute to set that up. So the plasmas will give us a little bit more reach. We still have the big gun. It's nowhere near as damaging, nor does it recharge as quickly as the Max does. You'll really feel that difference in not having the top tier mod. But as you can see, we are at a good distance. Like, this station is not a risk, and those Paranid plasmas are already firing. So Paranid plasma has a slower rate of fire than Argon plasma, but it has extra range and projectile speed. So you're trading off some damage capability for and rate of fire for extra range and increased likelihood of hitting on average with every shot you're firing. They're still not fast, but I just think if we're trying to encourage the ship AI to stay safe and maybe hit capital ships that might be on the move, I'm liking the Paranid plasma turrets a little bit more. Let's just get a little closer so the rear guns are engaging as well. There we are. Go to 0. So this group as a whole, not going to bash as effectively as the main Asgards, but 3 of these Asgards working together demolish a station in pretty short order, and I'm not as worried about them unsupervised. We'll put together we'll assemble another group, we'll reconfigure the fleet a little bit, but I have started moving in and started station bashing. We won't overdo it, but the reason I'm over in this part of the world anyway is because shortly the Shiyaku should be arriving, and given how dangerous it is to fly a freighter through this and how likely the AI is to get it killed, I'm going to manually pilot it in, get it to the Yaki base, and then get the crew recruitment done myself, I think. We're a couple of minutes away from Matrix 79 flipping, which will be a good achievement, and I've also sent some more advanced electronic shipments in the interim to the Getsufune headquarters. Everything is expanding, I think, at the moment, except Forge Complex Mars, just because it's such a beefy station already. That the ability of local resources to support more is a bit questionable. It's even got a surplus of silicon carbide, although not microlattice and substrate. This will be worn down pretty quickly by a couple of ship sales. Workforce is approaching the 49,000 capacity against a 49,915 optimal. So I might add maybe 4 more accommodations, get it to the point where we have a little bit of spare workforce. But we're producing enough MREs, enough medical supplies, so maybe that's what I'll do, and then we'll probably stop expanding the station for a while, just because of the sheer amount of stuff it's selling. If we look at ships, you can also see the Terran fleet's fighting some serious engagements. We sold 57 million credits worth of ships in the last 53 minutes, and of those, the vast majority are already destroyed, including some Osakas. So whatever the Terrans are doing, they are fighting some serious engagements. I'm not tracking all of them, but this is just telling me they are really pushing hard, which is good, which is exactly what we want them to do. We want the Terran fleet to win the war of attrition because of the support that we're paying them. But between the efforts of their wharf, like if you look at Trade Offers Terran Wharf, it's got pretty much everything it needs. So that tells you something. The fact that they're ordering ships from our forge complex, even though their wharfs and shipyards have full supply, means that it's not even resource limitation. The Terrans are putting enough fleets out there that they're actually shipyard capacity limited. Which makes me wonder whether I might be, I'm probably okay for the moment, but I was wondering if I need to actually build more yards, but I think that they've got so much overflow that's not really a problem. Alright, I'll polish off this station, wait for the Shiyaku to arrive, and then we're going to go rescue some Yaki crew, give them alternative employment, before we have to remove their pirating infrastructure. Let's put it that way. Okay, I am now on my mostly empty Shiyaku. We have our turrets active on attack all enemies, such as they are. We'll go to travel mode. I've hit guidance. Our goal is, as I said, we're going to get to the Yaki station, we're going to dock, we're going to pull all the recruitable crew we can off the thing. And if we need to do it, we're going to do it again. But basically, we're going to get them somewhere safe. If we need a second ship, we'll bring in a second ship. But I don't know how many recruitable crew there will be. If there is enough to fill this ship, we'll build another one. We'll repeat until we've drained it of its recruitable crew. Then in go the Asgards. Oh, look, there they are. Off to the side. You saw those XL beams firing. Let's just disable flight assist to get us pointed in the right direction. Beautiful. You can see those XL beams firing off to the side. Thank you, AI. Pirate Bay is a docking bay. That's what we want. This thing maneuvers like a not particularly alacritous brick. But that's okay. We can live with that. It just loves overcompensating. That is okay. That is what I pay for trying to drift in travel mode. This will now probably overcompensate a little on the other side. That's alright. What we do not want to do is end up making contact with those Xenon shipyards and wharfs. But if we can sort of drift in close... I'm hoping that a lot of the fighters have already been baited onto the battleships already. There was a cloud of destroyed fighters around them. Nowhere near what we encountered in the other sector, otherwise I would have brought the carriers across as well. But as it is, I'm just sort of gently carving out that foothold. This looks okay, other than the obvious and ominous presence of those Xenon's shipyards. Let's go full conventional, recharge, travel, point directly at where we want to go. And then hopefully the Yaki should greet me as a friend, thinking that absolutely nothing could possibly be up. I'm not arriving with an empty ship and job offers for any particular reason. Although when you think about it, it's kind of a good offer. I mean, they're literally in a desperate position. They complain about how they don't have anything, they don't have supplies, etc. They're surrounded by Xenon. And I'm coming along offering paying jobs. So...
Docking granted.
Docking granted indeed. Let's hit the boosters. Not this is a particularly agile crate of a ship. But it carries a bunch of people. We're inside the defense turrets now anyway, so hopefully any Xenon that get too close should be popped. Although I'm still scarred by the memories of literally flying into the hangar and being strafed by Xenon while in the hangar. That was fun. Alright, let's drift this thing in. Strafe across. I really hope I put a Mark... Yeah, I did. I was going to say, I hope I put a Mark II docking computer on this so I don't actually have to point it too precisely. Beautiful. You can get a sense of the scale for this compared to the entire station. This is the only Yaki station. It is not particularly large. So I'm hoping the population should be manageable.
Successfully done.
But of course it was totally worth them trying to blow up Earth in order to stay safe.
It's an honor to have you aboard.
Is it? You literally have no recruitable crew. Wait, why can I not... Why can I not upgrade my ship? I mean, they still have no recruitable crew, so this is all a bit naff either way, but I was expecting a grand rescue operation, and instead this is, not that. No, don't undock. Remove all orders. Dock and wait. Okay? Alright? Instead, I'm going to go around the station manually recruiting anyone I can.
Hello there.
You're hired. You're a service crew
Thanks
on that
for
ship
hiring
now.
me. I really appreciate it.
You have no idea. So there's no bulk recruitable crew. There should be randoms around the station who I can hire. I want it so there's no one left except for there should be 2 people on the station. Volcanic and the faction representative.
Hello there.
You're hired.
You won't regret this. I'll work hard for you.
Alright.
Hello there.
I would like to study your cybernetics later. Hey, you're actually a really good service crewman. I might transfer you later.
Great. I look forward to my first assignment.
Never mind me, Kendai Organic. Okay, so we've done the contingency suite, the engineering offices. Let's check out the manager's office. But I'm going to repeat this process for a little bit just to make sure that I've gotten everyone I possibly can. Nope, you're alone. That's fine. Next location. I think I did that. I think that was the representative's office. Was that the representative? No, that was the manager's office. Hey, there are people in the manager's office.
Hello
Yo,
there.
bro. You're hired.
I'm looking.
Yep. I know you're looking forward to
Hello
working with me.
there.
You are also hired, Afro Man, on the ship.
Thank you.
Go. Take my credits and my chance at not dying. Security office. Nope, no one in the security office. Fabrication bay, ship dealer. Surely there'll be some people hanging out around here. Oh, I'm going to have a look, recruit who I can, see how many Yaki I can drum up for employment in Terra Invicta and not at all for study of their interesting cybernetics. Also, I've just noticed the Yaki have a bunch of Xenon ships. Yaki SE, Yaki PE, Yaki SE, Yaki SE. I can only presume that these are captured Xenon vessels. But this is also extra verboten. I'm allowed to have captured Xenon ships, of course. I'm keeping them in Terran space at a Terran service dock in order to be as clear as possible. But this seems, yeah, that's not going to make people back home happy to see that, because there's a chance the Yaki might be experimenting on the cores. Like, who knows? Anyway, I've explored most of the location at this point, but I've just spotted a person in the distance. So the recruitment continues. I've hired everyone in the ship dealership. Hey there, how you doing?
Hello there.
You are slightly more expensive service crew person. Get on the Yaki rescue ship.
Thank you. I will do my...
You will do what you are told to do, which is not be here when this station is blown up. Anyway, I've got a couple more laps to do. Then we will be in a position to, I think, undock our vessel and bring in the battleships. And okay, with the completion of Station Offline 3, Matrix 79B is now recognized product under the control of Terminus, bringing Tharkas Cascade and Matrix 79B into that beautiful, beautiful green color. With that said, I've now brought the carriers through to secure the next foothold. The stations immediately around the breach have been destroyed. The Asgard Bash group is now moving down towards the Xenon Wharf to commence demolition operations. I'm going to continue doing a couple of laps of recruitment on the Yaki Pirate base, but I think we're almost done, rounding up a couple of dozen Yaki in total, doing manual recruitments. And then as soon as the Carter, the Jared Stringer, and the Hammond, and the other Asgards, once they come through the gate, have finished bashing down this Xenon Wharf, I'm not seeing any capitals to defend it. Probably because all the resource ships in this area have been destroyed and the shipyard and wharf no longer have access ever since we cut off their critically needed supplies. We'll demolish the Xenon Wharf, and then next episode, before we move on to the shipyard and this factory and get constructed and get Offline 4 constructed to claim Savage Spur 1 and eventually Savage Spur 2, we will have to turn the guns of the fleet on the Yaki Pirate base. But what have we accomplished this episode? We have the split now engaged in an active civil war. The Curbs and Xioth are shooting at each other, and that works for me. We are really, next episode we will be completing that arcology on Shiakaze, which will give us a housing for 200 million people on the planet. We've expanded production, so hopefully the advanced electronics should be available. And then next episode, we can knock out a bunch of constructions quickly, because the arcology was super expensive. 55,000 advanced electronics, 13,000 claytronics, 139,000 hull parts. Next, we're going to want to knock out things like, you know, the clinic, so that we can send medical supplies. The bank, so that we can fund startups. We'll want to get food production, aerial mazes. So we'll want to build out Shiakaze, essentially, now that we actually have, you know, people on the planet in order to enable us to do all this stuff. So Shiakaze will come along. Lots of fighters, that's okay. We'll be clearing out... the Earl King will be clearing out this Kark installation. So we'll finally have Hatikva's faith not only under our control, but actually, you know, safe for the mining ships that are currently seriously... let's just say they're having trouble with all the Kark around the place at the moment. The fighters can only do so much, you know. So once this installation's cleared out, the Earl King should clear this and we will be good. The Terran war effort continues at pace. It is a slow grind, but they are laying more and more infrastructure all the time. A lot of it in split space, some of it Antigone space. There are now no Antigone sectors, although there are some shipyards that are currently sabotaged that need to be demolished. And they have a foothold in Argon space. So, in parallel, our war effort is advancing, the Terran war effort is advancing, the splitter in the absolute toilet, which is fantastic. So next episode, it'll be Yaki, Xenon, and probably time to go switch back to the Paranid plot next. Or to run that plot in parallel. But once the fleet is finished with the Xenon, it'll be time for them to pull back, reconstruct. And then we need to talk about the Vigor Syndicate plot. Because that's one where it's less about narrative, in terms of us intervening in terms of story developments, and more one where I think we might need the fleet on hand. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for your patience. See you all again soon.